In focusing on Germany's energy dependence on Russia, Trump zeroed in on yet another in a long list of irritants in his relations with Chancellor Angela Merkel. Because of its trade surplus, unwillingness to meet NATO's goal of spending at least 2% of gross domestic product on defense, and liberal immigration policies, Germany has been a particular focus of Trump's ire and insults. Last month, when Merkel faced defections from her own party on immigration that threatened to bring her government down, for instance, Trump seemed to cheer her demise in a tweet that also falsely claimed a spike in German crime. The people of Germany are turning against their leadership as migration is rocking the already tenuous Berlin coalition, Trump tweeted. Crime in Germany is way up. Big mistake made all over Europe in allowing millions of people in who have so strongly and violently changed their culture. Combined with his blistering attacks about unequal NATO burden sharing, and his burgeoning trade war with the European Union, Trump's ad hominem attacks on allied leaders at a time when many of their governments are threatened by an ascendant wave of hypernationalist, anti-European Union, EU, political parties have sown unprecedented distrust in the transatlantic relationship. And all this comes just days ahead of his scheduled July 16 summit in Helsinki with Russian President Vladimir Putin, a man for whom Trump seems to have nothing but praise. Nicholas Burns, a former U.S. ambassador to NATO and currently the faculty chair of the Project on Europe and the Transatlantic Relationship at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, was left aghast by Trump's performance on Wednesday. Watching today's NATO meeting was Orwellian, because Merkel has been 1,000 times tougher on Putin than President Trump, but that kind of deflection of charges levied at him is right out of Trump's playbook. He also continues to consistently tell the American people that NATO allies are bad, and that Putin is okay, which also turns truth on its head, Burns said in an interview with Newspulse News. Trump previewed his strategy on Tuesday for what his supporters see as a much-needed course correction for American diplomacy even before he left for Belgium, when he spoke to reporters on the South Lawn of the White House. NATO has not treated us fairly, but I think we'll work something out. We pay far too much and they pay far too little, said Trump, who also noted the near dissolution of the Theresa May's government in the United Kingdom caused by the recent resignation of his friend and Brexit champion Boris Johnson, the former Foreign Secretary. So I have NATO, I have the UK, and I have Putin. Frankly, Putin may be the easiest of them all. Who would think? But Trump has consistently embraced an ideology which holds that the rules-based international order that America led for over half a century was great for our allies, but it tilted the economic playing field in a way that was a disaster for us, said Dalder, currently the president of the Chicago Council on Global Affairs. Couple that with Trump's nativist view that the United States and Europe are both under attack by a wave of immigrants, and it aligns the Trump administration with illiberal forces that are already ascendant throughout Europe and yes, in nationalist Russia under Putin. Trump's decision on Wednesday to sign on to NATO defense plans for shoring up the alliance's deterrent posture avoided a catastrophic split in the alliance at this week's summit. However, his call for doubling the goal of alliance defense spending from 2% to 4% of GDP, despite the fact that many allies are already struggling to reach the more modest target, was rejected and widely viewed as grandstanding. I believe Trump sees the world not divided between West and East, but rather between nationalist populists and globalists, and that aligns him against internationalist leaders in Great Britain, France, Germany, and Canada, and more in line with anti-immigrant, illiberal, and authoritarian regimes in Eastern Europe, Turkey and Russia, and that plays into Putin's hands, said Dalder, co-author of the upcoming book The Empty Throne, America's Abdication of Global Leadership. If Trump comes away from their summit saying he's going to relax sanctions on Russia or freeze provocative NATO exercises, then that will be as damaging as calling into question America's commitment to come to the defense of our NATO allies. I'm very worried that path leads to the kind of ultranationalism and division that characterized Europe in the 1930s before World War II.